I don't think any show has had as many memes spin off from it as The Simpsons. I mean, maybe Sesame Street, but that's not really the conversation here. The point is, with over 30 years to pull from it, it makes sense that The Simpsons would have its fair share of memes, but also it's the lasting power of these memes that I want to examine in this video. Let's do this. The idea of a meme, as we know it, has existed almost as long as the internet has existed. The internet, or the initial version of the internet as network communication, was launched on January 1st, 1983, and only 10 years later, attorney and author Mike Goodwin coined the term internet meme. Of course, this was building off of the term meme, which comes from The Selfish Gene, written by Richard Dawkins. But what is a meme? What's the meaning of a meme? What's a meme mean? I think it is put simply by Ruth Millikan.
Richard Dawkins invented the term memes to stand for items that are reproduced by imitation, rather than reproduced genetically.
So it makes sense why the term has been adapted to our modern use of it. Reproduced by imitation is one of the two defining factors of memes as we know them. Let me explain. Memes in Digital Culture, a 2013 piece by Limor Schiffman, looks at and breaks down several popular memes of the time, like Leave Britney Alone and Gangnam Style, amongst others. In doing so, Schiffman defines memes at their core as a combination of creative reproduction and intertextuality. Intertextuality is the relationship between two subjects. The Sopranos is a great example of this, as it makes plenty of references, both big and small, to mobster films that came before it, like Goodfellas and The Godfather.
A reference to Godfather, Goodfellas, good movies. And the rest are going to mention pizza.
While this has always been in storytelling, our modern nostalgia-driven media relies so much more heavily on triggering intertextual reactions above all else. One of the most used reaction memes is the Captain America "I understood that reference" image.
I do not understand.
I do. I understood that reference.
It uses intertextuality, the knowledge of the Avengers scene, to call attention to the intertextuality of whatever it is responding to. It's intertextualityception. That, of course, is an intertextual meme playing on Inception. So much of online language is built on the bones of intertextuality. Simpsons reaction GIFs, the backbone of Simpsons memes, is literally just this, taking moments like Homer backing into the bushes, Grandpa walking in and out of the maison derrière, "Haha, I'm in danger," are all extremely malleable images. Reinterpreting memorable moments from the show to a new situation is why The Simpsons is one of, if not the biggest show for reaction memes. As one of the most popular shows to millennials growing up and spanning over 30 years, it makes it both an extremely recognizable show, but also with over 230 hours of show to mine, it just makes sense that it has risen to the top. Also, just in reference to the huge number of hours, if you only consider the first 10 seasons the most nostalgic seasons of the show for most people, that's still over 82 hours of TV you can pull memes from, so I think that point still stands. Right? So, intertextuality aside, the other major element is creative reproduction. Gangnam Style, studied in Schiffman's work, is a prime example. That music video was all over the internet with tons of parodies and reinterpretations, sadly plenty being that casually racist thing that only 2010's internet could really be. We've come so far and still so far to go. It was one of the major memes to leave the internet and becoming part of mass media as a whole. The idea of memes hitting traditional media seems like the death of it, but it also ties to Dawkins' original writings on memes. He believes that
when you plant a fertile meme in my mind, you literally parasitize my brain, turning it into a vehicle for the meme's propagation.
South Park parodied the popularity of the song and its meme status with a Halloween party where most of the characters are dressed as Psy and doing the dance. Sure, South Park is pretty plugged in on internet culture, but at the time, SNL and The Tonight Show weren't, and they did parodies as well. And while mining online trends is commonplace for shows like that now, this was a meme going mainstream in the Leno era. That's how big it got, and all built off the way people were reinterpreting it for different subjects. Creative reproduction. Back to The Simpsons, We obviously get this as well. It's worth saying that creative reproduction doesn't really exist independently from intertextuality. Part of what makes a meme like Lisa's aggressive presentation work isn't just that it lends itself to the individual's joke, but it leans on the familiarity with both the meme itself and the show. Intertextuality and creativity work in tandem. I picture it almost like a slider, with individual memes leaning further on one or the other. But sometimes memes feel perfectly balanced, as much making you recognize a reference as it is showing off the creator's skills. We call those steamed hams. Originating from the classic episode 22 Short Films About Springfield, Steamed Hams is built on the idea of remixing the Skinner and the Superintendent segment in more and more insane niche ways. Explaining steamed hams on camera is just a weird thing to do. You're welcome, Mom. I tried looking into the first instance of a steamed hams video, but of course this kind of stuff wasn't really well recorded. I think the origin referencing to the clip as steamed hams comes from a YouTube upload of the clip all the way back in 2012, but there is an Urban Dictionary entry for steamed hams all the way back in 2007, but this is a definition of steamed hams in the show, not the meme itself. Okay, I think I actually found the first steamed hams. I didn't originally. I think because I was searching YouTube for steamed hams but, and looking on Google and stuff. But I thought, why not just check, know your meme? And there it was. From a user named Yables, the video is called Steamed Ellipses Hams ? And it's from 2010, March 2010. Let me play it for you.
Well, Seymour, you are an odd fellow, but I must admit, you steam a good ham.
That's it. That's the whole thing. The first steamed hams. Like I said, the meme really does hit both tenets of a meme. The amount of creativity poured into these videos are so wonderful. Honestly, more creativity than some of the major movies that are getting made now. One of my personal favorites is Steamed Hams, but it's a German expressionist film by Tyrone Deese. Any Steamed Hams where they film actual scenes is great, but the painstaking detail of replicating something as specific as German expressionism is wild to me. And it's nailed all the way through. The same can be said about the animation in Steamed Hams, but it was banned in the USSR, also by Tyrone Deese. I gotta say, it's crazy. This guy really does great work with Steamed Hams videos. I had several videos saved to reference and then realized that they were all made by him. Both of these, his latest coming out just a few weeks after I started working on this script, and it's a great one too.
Okay, I'm in the middle of recording and this guy's put out another one. 3 days. He can't be stopped.
That said, he's not the only creator killing it with these videos. Steamed Hams, but there's a different animator every 13 seconds is an insane feat, with 13 different animators coming together to make that video. The insane work put into that video has been rewarded with over 11 million well-deserved views, what seems like the most viewed take on this meme. Steamed Hams is, by its nature, steeped in intertextuality. Remixing the scene in any way is playing off our relationship with the original scene, like Steamed Hams but the roles are reversed by Sam Zippo, or the recent I Am Not TK video, Steamed Hams but Skinner was only available for a few days on set, so they had to do some rewrites creating deliberately choppy takes on the source. That sentence was hard to say. Why did I write it like that? A lot of the most popular videos often work by mashing up the original scene with other shows, movies, and genres. On top of the ones I already mentioned, we have stuff like Steamed Hams but it's Pulp Fiction, where Corey the Norm blends the two together in a way that is both janky and impressive, and to me feels not only like the heart of the meme itself, but what I love about YouTube as a whole. A+. Also, I need to, for the sake of my own need to feel complete on this, beat this horse a little further by mentioning music mashups. Steamed Hams Inc. by N.P. Carlson and Julianne Egg's Steamed Hams But It's Basket Case by Green Day are both great examples of this. Crazy, heavy use of pitch correction, and in the case of the first one, some very wild editing. The meme also gets intertextual within itself, because steamed hams, but there's a different animator every 13 seconds, feels like it's building off of what steamed hams, but every scene is a different animation style by Lotus Bandicoot did before, whether that was intentional or not. But talking about memes' intertextuality within itself, I've been seeing a lot of this on Instagram lately. Simpsons memes have trended towards mashing up popular scenes together in this weird snake eating its own tail sort of way. I don't know where exactly it comes from, but I love it. I may just be too online, but I love when a meme is hard to explain, and that's exactly the case with my partner and I when I showed her some of these. Like, you really have to see them and know all the mashed up scenes together to be in on it. These definitely won't be on Leno, and not just because he's been off the air for a decade. So earlier in this video, I spoke about memes being referenced in traditional media, and The Simpsons has its own intertextual version of that, where the show has made references to its own memes. Some of these are smaller, like a restaurant called Steamed Hams in the Skinner-Chalmers episode The Road to Cincinnati, a really fun touch if you ask me. It was also referenced on one of the Christmas cards at the end of the episode Manger Things, and while I do think it feels a little more forced here, it is also the 700th episode, so leaving a reference there is fine, and it's in the end credits. What's not in the end credits is Homer using the Homer in the Bushes gif in the episode The Girl on the Bus. It is really cheesy, and while I don't hate it as much as I've seen some other people do online, it is my least favorite of these three examples we've got here. The last thing I want to bring up here is less of the show referencing itself, but the writers doing so. That makes it sound like it's more of a thing than it is. I think it's really fun that the writers have shared tidbits from behind the scenes of meme origins. Dave Merkin tweeted about the bushes meme being based on how he used to do it as a kid, destroying the bushes in the process, and Bill Oakley put out the original draft of Skinner and the Superintendent, originally called Chalmers vs. Skinner. I love that they have seen the reception to their work and shared new angles on it. Not so much because of the relationship to the memes, but because it is really cool as a fan to see these things. I love knowing that Dave Merkin reinterpreted a weird thing that he did as a kid into a killer sight gag, and seeing early drafts of scripts and seeing the choices made between that and the final version is so cool. I mean, I'm a nerd for this kind of stuff, obviously. I wonder what it's like for these writers to know their work has what feels like two legacies. The show's legacy, and this strange, tangentially connected one. Memes, especially ones as universally known as what we've been referencing here, feel like integral parts to the internet, separate but similar to how The Simpsons as a show is tied to the legacy of television. Or maybe it is just one legacy on pulp culture, hell, on culture as a whole. All that said, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you to the wonderful people who lent their voices to this, and until next time, have a good one.